This is a Stand Up New York Labs production, providing you podcasts since 2013.
Welcome to Sex in the City.
Yes.
I am Jay Miller.
And I'm Ian Fidance.
Ian, where do we start on this? I feel like we have to talk about the entire journey it took to get to this podcast first.
Well, should we explain what the podcast is real quick?
I don't know if we explain what it is or how we got here first. I don't know what's more
Chicken
important.
or the egg? How we got to the podcast or what the podcast is?
Yeah, because I'm afraid that like it's a Sex in the City podcast, but I feel like we're going to talk about
Ourselves
for the first 30 minutes.
What?
And I don't
A
wanna do that.
podcast where people talk about themselves. This is groundbreaking, unique. You heard it here first, folks.
Okay, so here's the thing. I love Sex in the City.
Yes.
And that's genuine, 100%.
No irony.
No irony at all. I've seen every episode multiple times. Love it. I have strong feelings with and connections to it, like with relationships that I've had and girlfriends. So I kind of watch it, and there's like a lot of episodes hit me in certain places.
Ooh, that's how I feel about music.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of music I listen to I was just on the road and I was in my mom's car and I put on a bunch of old mix CDs I made. It was all like pop punk and ska, and I'm like, I remember driving down Governor Prince on my way to Allison's house, you know, or like I remember going to this place and that place, and it really brought. So that's how you feel about Sex in the
I just
City.
listened to Bright Eyes on the way here.
Oh my god!
Which took me to a place, and I was like, why am I listening to this before?
Why am I crying on the train?
So I had an idea, and what's funny is that I saw recently in my old tweets it was January 1st, 2017 that I tweeted out,
Oh my god!
I want to do a podcast where I watch every episode of Sex in the City with someone who's never seen it. And then I think later on that year of 2017, I mentioned it to you, and you've never seen an episode.
Right.
And you were totally down for the idea. And it took us months to finally meet up and do one. And then we met up last April of 2018.
Yes.
And we did 2 episodes where
Yes.
the first episode where we talked about what you thought of the show. And then the second episode where we watched it.
Yes.
The first episode.
Yes.
We filmed it in your backyard.
Yes. Now, what's interesting about that is that you also had a producer that you brought.
Yes.
And we have a producer today, Max. Okay, great. Good job, Max. And this other producer showed up to my apartment with a golf bag full of equipment.
Here's the thing with me, and the reason people have been asking me to do a podcast forever, and the reason I can't do it is because I have no technical skills at all. I could barely set anything up. So
You were just texting, and it looked like you were punching your phone.
no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I finally found someone who was like, I'll record it for you, and I'll figure it all out.
What a
for you."
blessing.
A blessing.
Yeah.
And then we showed up, and he had, it seemed like way too much equipment.
And I thought, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. But we really should have examined this horse because it had way too many wires and things in its horse saddlebags.
Let's not make fun of his weight. This is not necessary at all.
He's a very large man. I had to.
But it was less about Nick, because Nick is like the sweetest guy I've ever met.
I like Nick.
He's
Nick
awesome.
was great, but it took 2 hours to set up microphones and a soundboard, and
But
also you didn't want to do it out
this
back.
was also
and the
your
more you
problem.
didn't want to do it out back, the more I wanted to do it out back.
We did this outside in the backyard.
And it was a little chilly, but that way I got to chain smoke cigarettes.
Yes, but it was also so loud. And there were cars and planes
Which I thought was fun because we got to comment on them.
No, you got to comment of how upset I was
Yes,
by all of it.
yes, it made me so happy. We would be on like a good riff or a tangent, and then it would be like,
They'd be like,
woo, woo, woo.
And I get so like one thing happens and then I'm done for the entire day.
And it was so fun to watch that happen because I know you like that to happen with other people.
Yes, but I don't like it when it happens to me.
I know, that's why I wanted to do it. Matter of fact, Max, can you put some sirens randomly when Jay's talking? Just some wee-woos.
Yeah, I can do that.
No,
Okay,
don't do that. Do not do that.
Yeah, so we did it in the backyard, and I thought the episodes were great. We had a lot of fun. We made up a theme song. We came up with different names for the show.
We came up with one name for the show, which was Sex and the Shit He's.
Yes,
which
Sex and the Shit He's.
we are not
we vetoed.
going with.
Yes.
No, I hated the episodes.
Well, what happened when we heard the episodes?
Oh, when we finally got the episodes back, he had mixed it so that Ian was in the right ear and I was in the left ear.
Yes.
Which was like, I don't know, it was like the quadrophenia of podcasts.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Not necessary.
Yeah.
And then I had to figure out how to switch that. But I think the fact was I didn't enjoy it, and I didn't like the way this came out. I don't want to release it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which I think is a good thing because now that we're moving forward and we're in a more professional environment, we can release those as bonus episodes.
there'll be bonus episodes.
Which I would be interested to hear our thoughts and feelings on the first episode and watching the first episode compared with how we feel now. You know.
Yeah. How much we have changed in
Yes.
8 months.
Yes.
all of our feelings on the world.
Uh-huh.
But once we did those episodes, you were definitely down to do more. And I want to say that I went into like a deep depression, but I was already in a deep depression. So I guess I've gone into a deeper one. One of the problems with my ADHD is that I think people think with ADHD is that I have ADHD.
So do I.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And people think it's because like, oh, you're just like super hyper and you can't stand still.
Yeah.
But it also makes you like unable to do anything.
Yeah.
And so if you go through my notebooks of my daily to-do list that never get checked off, Bright Eyes quote. And it said call Ian like every day for 9 months.
Hilarious.
And I just could not call you because it got to a point where it was like, now it's been too long to call you and it's weird.
Right.
And also now if I do call you, we have to follow through, which is also a scary thing to do.
Right.
So if I could be serious, I appreciate you so much for sticking with me because a lot of people do not. Like after a while, they're just like, "Oh, he's a flake."
You know, I see myself in you, and not just because we're fucking.
Nice. That's hot.
Not just because we're banging right now. No, but I see a lot of myself in you, and I'm the same way. I have ADHD. I go through depressive states. I go through manic states. I make plans, and I cancel them, and I struggle with the fact of, am I a flake or am I really just, depressed? And either way, I need to be more accountable to my word and to people I start projects with. So I've been like really kind of trying to push us forward as a means of like, this is something positive you're doing, stick with it. And I need to do that with other things in my life as well. And then when you don't do it, you feel bad, like you owe these people like an apology, but then they move on. They're like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can relate to you and your feelings, which is why I think we're a good pair. I think we can keep each other in check.
Yeah, last time we met, you were like, "Let's use this to push each other."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh fuck," like that scared me. And I was like, "Yes, okay, that is great."
Yeah.
But I also hate it. But
Yeah.
I also need it. So
Right. Yeah. And I think you have to, in order to get better and get through things, you have to be uncomfortable and do things you don't want to do.
Agreed.
And I think that that's going to be important for both of us as well as this project. And I think we're going to see positive effects in other areas in our lives, which
so.
I hope is a byproduct of this. And I hope people pick up on that too, because I don't think we're the only ones.
Yeah. Well, with that, this is the end of the episode, and this is the last one we're ever going to do. Good night.
Jay and I murder suicide each other.
Oh, God, please.
Blame it on Max.
So that was the entire background of the actual podcast.
And might I say, I have always been a staunch opponent of Sex and the City.
I thought you were going to say of me.
Of Jay. I've always disliked it, and then we watched the first episode, and I was like, "Well, this is interesting."
Well, this is where it is kind of wanting to go back to you
Right.
before you've seen this first episode. And that's what we did on the first one. And I brought my piece of paper of when I wrote notes for when we did our first episode, but I've yet to revisit it, which I probably should have done before this podcast.
Why does it say buy rope and chair?
Oh,
That's so weird.
Don't read that part. It's a different podcast I'm working on that no one could listen to.
What if someone made a podcast that was the Suicide Pod, and it was just one long, elongated suicide letter, and then at the end of the pod, the Patreon episode is that you get to watch them kill themselves?
Oh, but only if you buy it.
Yeah.
Oh.
But then what if no one pays for the Patreon and it makes you kill yourself ahead of time?
Or not enough people pay for you to kill yourself. Like,
Yeah.
You're a failure at that also.
Yeah.
God. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Well, all right. Let's move on to the list of things.
I also like the idea of your list of suicide is buy rope and a chair. Is that how people kill themselves? Just tie themselves up to a chair?
No, idiot. You tie the rope to a beam, you stand on the chair, and then you kick the chair
Or
out
you were
from
going
underneath
that
you.
way?
Yeah, what were you
Oh,
thinking?
I was thinking more kidnapping, like tying someone to a chair by rope and a
Oh,
chair.
that's interesting how our brains work. Question. I've been asking people this. I went to Rochester recently, and their like food that they're known for is called a garbage plate. What do you think that is?
A garbage plate?
Yeah.
And this is something you would buy, something you would like order at a restaurant?
Restaurants they specialize in garbage plates.
I would say a garbage plate is like fries, onion rings, mozzarella sticks, and like gravy on top of it.
God damn it, you're right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like chopped up hot dog, hamburger, onion rings, fries, beans. I thought a garbage plate was just food served on a garbage lid. Sorry, my brain works differently than yours, okay? I thought that was like the cool thing. Like, here you go, it's on a garbage lid. This is
But have you ever seen that anywhere outside of Sesame Street?
I thought that maybe like Rochester was founded by a bunch of hobos, and that's like the tradition of how they ate. They would eat their food on a garbage plate.
Like Jack Rochester? Was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
homeless guy?
yeah.
That's what
Jack
it's named after?
Rochester. Yeah. The hobo Jack Rochester rode a freight train into town. His first meal was a potato on a garbage lid.
Now, here's the thing. Like, you're saying that your brain works weird. But I also listened to the Sesame Street soundtrack on the way in today also and listened to I Love Trash.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Really?
I swear I could show it to you on my
Wow,
phone. if
what
you don't
a
believe me.
coincidence.
But it's also where it's like, wow, how weird you are for thinking that. But it's like I'm also listening to Bright Eyes and Sesame Street on the way in.
Yeah, our brains really do work
Look
differently.
at this, recently played.
Hold on, can I play
Sesame
it? Can I
Street.
play it on the thing?
Yeah.
Put the microphone up. How's it sound?
Do we have to pay for that?
No.
Do you know how many Sesame Street records there are?
I mean, do you? And why do you know?
Because I had to go through it this morning. How
Why?
much?
You had to?
Well, yeah, that's another thing I have.
I've waited long enough, and now the time has come. Oscar, what are you doing?
Whoa.
Jay is a man with a close-shaved haircut and a beard on the train listening to this song.
Getting ready to sing my song, so I'm throwing it all.
Yeah, I was thinking like the guy next to me, what he thinks I'm listening to.
Rotten or rusty. Yes, I love trash. If you
I'm from Rochester, New York, and I eat trash and pork on a garbage plate, which is a lid. Fuck you, Jay, and your kids.
Don't bring him up.
That's a good song. Not the one I sang, the Sesame Street.
Speaking of songs, let's talk about our theme song.
Oh,
to this
that's
before
right,
We get
yeah.
into Sex and the City. I've reached out to some friends, our friends Casey Jost.
Yes.
So you mentioned like have him do a theme song for us.
Yeah.
So I reached out to him. Mm-hmm. He hasn't gotten back to me.
Should we call
yet.
him right now?
I mean, if you like. I don't know what our phone call capabilities are. Well, also there's a thing like Fiverr.
What's Fiverr?
It's where you pay people $5 to like do work for you.
Oh, right.
So we could just have them make theme songs for us as well.
A random Fiverr?
Yeah. Just be like, hey,
interesting.
can you do this?
It'd be cooler to have, a friend do it that's
Really?
musically
Better than paying
inclined.
$5 for an 8
Well, is it
second
just
theme song?
Anyone does it? Give me $5. I'll sing a tune.
I think you just did.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, we'll have one. There might have been one already at the top of this.
Oh, that's right.
We're going to edit it after,
Yeah.
but we should act cool like we already have it.
Yeah,
How'd you guys like that theme song?
That was a pretty good theme
Yeah.
song, huh?
So let's talk about Sex and the City a bit.
Let's do it.
So as I said, we have to try and act like you've never seen it. We
Truth be
established
told,
I love it.
I don't remember the first episode.
Right.
Some girl,
Well,
Miranda, had sex.
let's talk about your
was
feelings
crazy.
of the show before you know anything about it. What are your thoughts on Sex and the City? What have you thought about it? How has it been anything in your life at all?
I mean, my thoughts on it are people tie their personalities way too closely with Sex and the City. And by people, I mean women. I think a lot of girls have this idea of like, that's like, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a prosecutor, and she was telling me that she has to explain in trials, like, she's a defense attorney, like, she had to, or no, she's not, she's a prosecutor, Jesus. Anyway, she had to tell people, like, she used to tell juries, like, this is not Law and Order SVU. Things aren't cut and dry. This isn't CSI. We're not going to get DNA results on everything. Da, da, da. Like, people think TV is reality.
Right.
I still have, like, a relative that calls me. She's like, be careful in New York. I know how dangerous it is. I see TV. And I'm like, what? This is the safest city in the world.
Right.
So I feel like a generation of girls saw Sex in the City and were like, this is what life in the city is.
Right.
Well,
Well, what do you think that is? What do you think they saw?
Just expensive nights out, banging guys and brunch the next day, entitlement and like weird attitudes, I guess. Which maybe is
Say which kind of is what New York is.
right, but was it this way before Sex in the City? I feel like before Sex in the City, but also it ties into, wealth and everything that comes into the city and everything. But I feel like brunch culture was not such a thing before Sex in the City. And
Interesting.
I mean, like, it did tap into an already existing nightlife scene and everything, and I think it put an eye to that. Maybe, it liberated women in feelings of being more open about things, but I don't know, there's just something obnoxious, I think. And also, I'm a hypocrite because there was a point in time in like 2004, 2005 where I like watched without irony Entourage. And like, I would be like, this is really good television. What's going to happen to Vinny this week? So like, maybe I'm a hypocrite, and I'll fully admit I can be wrong, but I just feel like Sex in the City, I associate like entitled women with that show. And I never bothered to look deeper into it than that. And I think that hinges on some form of maybe latent misogyny I have, or
Well,
some sort of like preconceived notion that I should break down.
Well, that's a super interesting thing to go back and watching this 20 years later, because within this last 20 years, the role of women in society has changed so much, especially
Yeah.
within the past like 5 years.
5
Things have
months.
changed. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
So going back and watching it, you do kind of have to watch it within the context of the times.
Mm-hmm.
Also, is super important. So I'm just telling you that. I'm giving you a job.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to watch the show and compare it to what's going on today, but to also maybe appreciate for what it was at the time. Also, my mom would watch it, and I would like watch it with her, and that's always weird to watch like sexually related things with like a parent,
Oh, yes.
And I would be like, "Ugh, gross," and then I would just like leave the room,
I used to really enjoy showing movies to my mother, like things that because she just watches. She's very, she loves like A Star Is Born is like perfect for her. Like she loves anything that is on Just basically, she is the most basic person. So I was like, I want to show her like better films. I want to show
Right.
her like culture her a bit. So one time, have you seen Punch Drunk Love? Adam Sandler,
No.
Paul
but I
Thomas
hear
Anderson.
it's
You haven't seen
incredible. No, I
it? We
need
have to start that podcast.
Yeah.
We just watch that every week.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies. It is different. It is we can't talk about it. But I was like, let me show this movie to my mom because this is something different that she's never seen before. Completely forgetting that there is a scene that is about 5 to 8 minutes long of him having phone sex.
Oh.
Like very graphic
Right.
phone sex that I'm watching now sitting with my mother.
Right.
Super uncomfortable. And to make it worse, my dad walks in the room at the moment.
Oh my God.
He goes, "Oh, nice. This is what you show your mother?" I was like, I forgot this scene.
Oh
existed,
no!
so-
What was that movie? Oh, Hall Pass, with Jason Sudeikis and like Owen Wilson or whatever. For some reason, my mom's 80-something-year-old neighbor Betty was over, and that movie was on, and I was watching that with my mom and Betty, and there was a scene where they give like fake cunnilingus. And it's just like Jason Sudeikis pretending to eat a pussy. He's like, la, 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 la. And then Betty's like, oh, Gail, this is crazy. And my mom's like, I didn't know this was going to be on. I'm just like, oh, God, never a boner again. It was terrible.
You think about her every time you give kind of.
What if I talked about Hall Pass the way you talked about Punch Drunk Love? What if I was like, it's different, it's unique, it's important?
That's our next podcast where we watch movies we've never seen that are with our parents.
Oh,
Are your parents still alive?
half of them.
Half of them.
One's dead.
All right. Do you want to say which one?
I think you know.
I know, but it's not for me.
Oh, yeah, my dad. But anyway,
All right.
one time Jay used to have a cable access show on Staten Island television, and he brought me on specifically to try to make me talk about my dad. And then I owned it by singing a song about him being dead, and then it got weird for everyone, and Jay loved it.
Well, I feel like a fun thing about this is we both like to make other people feel uncomfortable.
But I out uncomfortabled you.
On that one?
Yeah. And then I think on the last podcast, I was getting you back for that by making you feel so uncomfortable by being like, record it outside.
You got me on the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you
So
back a couple years later.
This time.
Just so you know, if anyone ever slights me, you will be gotten. Maybe not that day, but at a
Great.
certain point in time, Ian will get you.
Speaking of cunnilingus, the first time that I ever watched.
That's how one of your parents died.
Yeah.
Free
That's how my mother was
cunnilingus
killed,
accident.
actually. Let's not talk about it. I was on tour with this Scottish band called Aerogram who run Matador Records. And we were in a hotel in, I think we were in like Lawrence, Kansas. And it's like, these were 4 big like Scottish dudes, huge beards. And we're all laying on the bed at the motel. And this episode of Sex and the City comes on, and we're just like, "Do you guys want to watch this?" Like, I don't care, I'll watch it. And then it's like a girl giving cunnilingus, and she gets like, basically the girl like comes in her face, and then we were all like, yeah, let's just keep watching this. And then it was like, up next, another episode of Sex and the City. And we were like, do you want to keep watching? All right. We watched like 4 episodes in a row,
Right.
just these 4 guys watching Sex
Were you
and the
emotionally
City.
invested in it? Were you like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah, and then I like spoke to my lady friend. I was like, you ever hear of this show, Sex and the City?
So
And
that's
she
how
was
you
like,
got introduced to it.
Yeah, that was the
Oh,
first time I ever
wow.
saw it.
What year was this?
It's probably around 2000 maybe 2000.
When did the show come out? 97?
The show came out in 1998, June 6th, 1998, and ran till February 22nd, 2004.
And you were how old in 98?
episodes and 2 movies.
So we got to do 94 episodes of this fucking show?
And yeah, and 2
And then
movies.
2 movies
Yeah.
worth?
Yes.
I'm up for it.
Well, there's also the prequel of the Carrie Diaries, so which I've never seen, but depending how good this goes, we go right into that. And then there's also a Brazilian version called Sexo e as
Ciudad.
Negas.
Oh.
So
Oh my
this could
God.
run forever.
Wow, look at that. I hope our suicide podcast takes off.
This show was started by basically the writer Candice Bushnell had an anthology of columns in the New York Observer and the New York Star around 1994. And then she put all those stories out in a book called Sex and the City in 1997. And then Darren Star made a TV show of it. And so
Was she a part of the television show adaptation?
Candace?
Yeah.
Well, I think everything was. I don't know actually. I know everything was based around her because she was the writer. She would write these articles, Sex and the City, and that is.
So there were actual. She was an actual author in the city,
yes,
and it was called Sex and the City.
yes.
What publication did that run in? The Village Voice,
The Observer
The Observer.
and the New York Star.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so she would write articles about her sex life in the city.
Yep.
Wow.
And you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I've never read the book. Now I feel like a fraud.
Well, you are a fraud.
Pretty well.
Wow. So she wrote. Oh. So it was like based on real life.
Oh, completely.
Interesting.
Completely. The show, they were nominated for 54 Emmys and won 7, 24 Golden Globes, won 8, and they were nominated for 11 SAG Awards, won 3. So they did very well. Darren Star, who created the show, he also created Beverly Hills 90210, Melrose Place, Central Park West.
Wow.
Have you ever watched any of those shows?
No.
I never watched any of them.
No, my mom used to watch Beverly Hills 90210, and my dad and I used to make fun of it.
That doesn't seem nice.
Yeah, it was just something to do. It's fun.
Just make fun of mom.
Just gang up on mom.
Do you know the 4 characters on the show?
Miranda, Carrie, Samantha, and Heather.
The forgotten
No.
one.
Miranda,
She's the
Carrie,
forgotten one.
Samantha, and Miranda is the redhead.
Correct.
Carrie is Sarah Jessica Parker. Samantha's Kim Cattrall,
Yes.
and then the other one is Marsha.
No, she looks like a Martian.
No, don't tell me. The other one is not Stephanie. I know the girl who she's like real buttoned up and anal,
Yes.
like very
The last time you knew who she married.
What?
The last time you were like, she married the bald guy.
Oh,
and
did
I
she marry
could-
the bald guy?
and I couldn't believe it.
Or
Oh,
no, the
spoiler
redhead
alert.
married the bald guy.
Oh, I don't want to spoil it now.
Oh,
I feel
boy.
like I did too much. I couldn't believe you knew that last time.
All right. Carrie, Samantha, Miranda, and
Her last name's York.
Bridget.
She looks like a Bridget. It's a CH name.
Christine. Kathy.
She's a Charlotte York.
Charlotte York. Damn it.
Charlotte York, who is Kristen Davis from Boulder, Colorado. She was born February 23rd, 1965. She went to Rutgers.
Okay.
She came to New York. She started a yoga studio. In 1995, she was on Melrose Place. Her character was killed.
Yes.
She was also on Friends, Will and Grace, Seinfeld. Do you remember her from Seinfeld?
Yeah, just so the listeners know, Jay's doing this all from memory.
She was the girl from Seinfeld who took the toothbrush out of the toilet and brushed her teeth. And then Seinfeld broke up with her.
Really?
Yeah.
Seinfeld always found a reason to break up with girls.
Yeah.
Seinfeld
Mostly because they weren't in high school.
Was
That was-
gay.
Isn't it weird that Seinfeld dated a girl in high school? No one really cares about that.
Oh, in real life.
Yeah.
Was she in high school?
Oh, she was 17 years old.
And he was how old?
Not in high school. That's all that really matters.
Did that really happen?
That really happened. I mean, he was super famous.
Where's his R. Kelly documentary?
I don't know.
Wow.
She was never married, but she does have an adopted daughter.
The
She's
girl in high
also a recovering alcoholic. No, this is
Hell
Kristen
yeah.
Davis.
Me and her.
This is Charlotte.
Good for her.
Also,
We have her on the line. Charlotte, hello. Hey, this is Charlotte. I love alcohol, but I don't drink it anymore. And I also love Rutgers and brushing my teeth after the toothbrush fall in the toilet.
What did you do when you first came here to New York?
I started a yoga studio.
And then What happened?
I was just flip-flopping around for a while, drinking.
How did you die on Melrose Place? I forgot how that happened.
Freak cunnilingus accident.
Cynthia Nixon, who plays Miranda.
I came so hard I had a seizure. Why did she have a southern accent?
I don't know. Well, she is. Well, we'll see. We'll find out if she does. Cynthia Nixon, not related to any Nixons. She plays Miranda Hobbs. She was born April 9th, 1966.
Very important.
I don't know if that's her birthday or Darren Starr's birthday. I don't know someone celebrates a birthday on that day. But Cynthia Nixon, oh my gosh, she was in Amadeus, the Manhattan Project. She she made theater history because she was in 2 separate Mike Nichols plays that were running at the same time, and she would be in one for the first act, and then she would run across to the other theater and be in the second act.
Oh,
of the
that's
other one.
awesome. Man, the mental fortitude of that, to have all that memorized and be able to change characters and everything, that's crazy.
And it's so insane.
My God.
She was in the second episode ever
How
of
the
Law.
hell didn't she become mayor?
Oh, that's right.
She could have been mayor and treasurer at the same time.
We got to miss the whole Cynthia Nixon run for mayor.
We'll talk about it.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to
she was
it.
in the second episode ever of Law and Order. She has 3 Emmy nominations. She won in 2004.
Oh,
she was also
congrats.
nominated for a Tony.
Get
And she
out.
was also in Adam's Family Values.
Was she?
These are the notes that I wrote down.
Oh, wow.
She was never married, but she has 2 kids. And in 2004,
Out of wedlock? Show's over.
2004,
This is ridiculous.
she started dating a woman, and they have, I don't know if the 2 kids are from hers, but she's also, I believe she's not a lesbian. I think she said that she's not a lesbian. She just started dating a woman. I think she's married to her. I didn't write that in these notes.
But she's not a lesbian. But she's
what she
married
said.
to the woman.
That's what she says.
Good for her.
Who's to question her? Samantha
The
Jones.
voting public.
Kim Cattrall, March 21st, 1956. She's a Canadian. She was in Columbo, to
Damn,
Dukes
she was
of
born in
Hazzard,
56?
The Incredible Hulk, Starsky and Hutch. She was in
A bunch of Police Academy movies?
Police Academy, Porky's, Big Trouble Little China,
Oh,
Mannequin.
my God.
I mean, I feel like everyone had
Every boy's dream.
Oh my God.
Foxy lady.
So foxy in the 80s. She was like super cute and hot in the 80s, and then foxy in the
And
90s.
had a revival.
Fuckable in the 2000s.
And now, don't even talk about it. What is she? If she was super cute in the 80s, foxy in the 90s, super fuckable in the 2000s, what is she now?
Decrepit. No, we got a lot to talk about Kim Cattrall because a lot has gone on since the show ended,
Interesting.
where she is not
Doing
a fan of the show.
what?
And not a fan of Sarah Jessica Parker.
Nuh-uh.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Big Trouble in Little China. It sounds
She
like.
has been nominated for 5 Emmys, 5 Golden Globes. She won a Golden Globe in 2002. She's been married 3 times, no kids. Oh, this is I have 2 fun facts. She was in Star Trek 4.
What?
And oh man, I didn't write down where she posed, but she posed naked with Vulcan ears. Leonard Nimoy found out and freaked out and canceled the entire thing. I don't know if she did it for Playboy or Penthouse, but they were he nixed that.
Really?
Yeah.
Max really loves that. What
Did you
is
know?
so
Are you a
funny about that,
Are you a
Max?
Star Trek fan?
No, I just think it's funny that he would freak out about it. It's like,
Ruining the sanctity of Star Trek?
yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
Wow. Man, that really tickled Max. Max
Oh,
really. I thought you were a Star Trek
I
fan.
know,
You're
yeah.
like,
No, I don't know. It's just, I like people freaking out over
oh,
stupid
that's
shit.
funny.
Oh, if that tickled you, this will tickle you more. In 2007, she was on Flight 103, and then she canceled it the day of, and then that plane crashed.
Into what?
I don't know. Flight 103 is not like 9/11. I don't know why I wrote it down like classic Flight 103.
Was that the one that crashed into the Hudson?
No.
With, what was
Sully?
his name? Sully? Yeah.
I don't know.
Was that the Sully?
That is not the Sully. Pan Am Flight 103.
It crashed
from
into what?
Frankfurt to Detroit. This happened in
Did it
1990. Oh, this was in 1998.
Into you,
Oh, all 243 people died.
baby. What?
It's a disaster known as the Lockerbie bombing.
She wasn't involved in the Lockerbie bombing.
Well, she wasn't involved in it.
She was on the Lockerbie bombing plane. I thought the Lockerbie bombing happened in like the 70s.
1988.
She was on that flight.
She was supposed to be on that flight.
But what happened? She had a freak cunnilingus accent. She couldn't make it.
I didn't write enough on this sheet of paper.
We'll find out in the next episode.
The episodes, I'm going to follow up on this, yes, because we have to talk about the Queen,
SJP.
SJP.
And then we'll wrap it up.
She's a national treasure, born March 25th, 1965, Nelsonville, Ohio. She's one of 8 kids.
Whoa.
1972, she was in Annie. She was not the original Annie. I think she was like the second Annie.
Yeah, I don't think she was originally.
She was in a TV show, Square Pegs. You might remember her from Footloose.
Ooh.
Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
They do.
Flight of the Navigator.
Flight of the Lockerbie bomber.
She was in LA Story, Honeymoon in Vegas, and of course, Hocus Pocus.
Yes! Oh,
Yes.
she was such a babe in Hocus Pocus.
Amok.
Even though she was a pedophile.
I've never seen it.
She was so horny for children. And I was a child at the time, and I was like, be horny for me.
Yeah.
God,
She
was a
dated
babe.
Robert Downey Jr. for 7 years.
Oh,
she
poor
also
gal.
dated JFK Jr.
Whoa.
And then
Speaking about plane crashes,
Yeah, oh.
rest in peace.
then- and then of course Matthew Broderick, 1999. They've been together ever since.
yes. Was she with him pre or post him killing someone in a car accident?
Matthew Broderick killed someone in a car accident.
Look it up.
Is that,
I'll look it up.
oh my God! This podcast has had Sex and the City podcast, mostly about
Sex and the
murder and
Scandal.
death. How many people have
Matthew
died in this podcast?
Broderick. You know, it's probably died the most right now. People's interest.
Just
Ends
give it-
a
just-
holiday in a. Hold on. Car
Just giving the background
death.
on the show before we go, because what we're going to do is going to watch one episode a week, go in depth into the episode.
Oh, August 5th, 1987, driving a rented BMW in Ireland. He crossed in the wrong lane and collided head on with a Volvo, killing both people instantly.
Wow. Killed
And
both of them.
apparently, he got in trouble for it because when this happened, he was supposed to be in class, but he had taken a day off. Him and
that's
his
why-
friend Cameron were in the car, and they were driving to the Sears Tower.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's why, kids, you
Never
never cut
take a
school.
day off
Yeah,
of school.
I feel like that was the moral of that movie,
Yeah.
is never cut school.
Yeah. Apparently, when he ran into the other car, someone went, bolt, bolt.
Yeah.
Good thing we can edit on the show. That was a terrible riff, but stay in school, kids.
No, it was,
Anyway, what were you saying?
we were just talking about Sarah Jessica Parker, national
Yes.
treasure.
She gets a lot of hate
She gets a lot of hate, and there's no reason for it at all.
for the way she looks,
Yeah, and
which isn't fair.
I guess because she's not considered like traditional
Conventionally
hot,
attractive. I can relate.
and
Some people say I'm the Sarah Jessica Parker of comedy.
who says this?
I just did right now because I'm
Because do you consider yourself a
unconventionally
national
handsome.
treasure?
I'm on my way towards it.
Well, Sarah Jessica, I do feel like super defensive when everyone makes jokes about her. I'm like, no, she is great. Have you ever watched her episode of Comedians in Cars?
No.
Oh,
What the hell's she doing on that show?
being amazing.
She's not a comedian.
Yeah, try not to laugh at her episode.
Really?
And fall in love with her.
Wow.
She's amazing. And so, yeah, we will not, on this show, there will be no SJP hatred. She's a national treasure,
I can't wait to bash her just so you can defend her.
and I'll do it every time.
I think we have her on the phone. Sarah?
God. We
That sounds like a sick animal.
we need to make a rule on this show. I feel like we cannot mention horses.
I did it just to make you upset, but
And it made me upset.
I think that
I don't like it. I don't like it.
oh, she got upset. She's leaving. Clip, clop, clip,
Not
clop,
funny.
clip, clop.
No, this is funny.
I'm doing it to upset Jay. I don't mean the things that are coming out of my mouth
Yes, but you're upsetting me. I mean,
and the listeners.
because listen, the goal on this show, okay, not only is it
To
for
upset
me
Jay.
to watch the episodes again and give me a reason to watch them, is to get someone else to love it as well.
Yes. And we're going to bring people on to talk about it too, because a lot of people love this show. A lot of people that you wouldn't even expect love this show.
I think if you mention the show to everyone, they have very strong feelings. Whether
Yes.
I love that show, I hate that
Yes.
show. Nobody is very in the middle. No one's ever like, I have no feelings on it.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, no, I have very strong feelings.
Very polarizing.
But yeah, no, we're gonna have friends on the show and guests. I mean, I feel like
I want to do a live episode from the house.
whose house?
Their house.
Oh, their house is the people live there. I don't know why anyone would live there, but there's a chain in front of their
I know, I've
house.
seen
They
it.
don't want anyone to go there. But my goal on the show, within these 94 episodes, is to get Sarah Jessica Parker on this show.
That would be great.
It has to happen. I mean, I want to meet her. Mm-hmm. I mean, for the listeners.
Yeah, just for the listener's sake. You want to meet her, and it would be nice to hear her get creeped out on air.
Oh yeah. I mean,
No,
let's
but I just want to say I was making jokes to make Jay upset.
what
Don't
are,
listen to the first episode, SJP.
What are the odds? I mean, who would you say the top? It's more than 5, but who would be the top guest that we can get on our show?
Sarah Jessica Parker,
Well, the 4 girls.
the 4 girls, Mr. Big,
Mr. Big.
the bald guy,
Oh, the bald guy.
the author,
Oh, Candace.
Darren,
Darren Star.
Sex and the City tour guides,
Oh, okay, that should be possible. Yes, that's 9.
your mom,
My mom's never watched the show because it has the title "Sex" in it. She
my mom.
would she?
I don't know.
Did she watch it? Oh, you said that she
A couple times,
A couple
yeah.
times. Well, listen, I am excited to go through all of this with you, and I hope this gives for 2 reasons. One, I hope for fans who love the show will kind of come along with us and rewatch the show
Mm-hmm.
with us. It'll give people a reason to like get back into the show, and it'll give a reason for people who have never seen it to be like, you know what, I'm going to start watching it.
Yeah. And as someone that's been kind of completely ambivalent to the show and has harbored, I think maybe a part of me didn't like it because everyone liked it. And I was like, whatever, it's probably overrated. And then I just never had a chance to dive into it. It's hard to go back and watch a show that's been on for so long, like from the beginning, you know? Like I never got into Lost, I never got into Sopranos. The Wire I enjoyed, but like, and then Breaking Bad. But those are the only 2 shows that I like really went back and like watched religiously.
Right.
I have a hard time just getting involved in a series. Maybe it's my ADHD. Maybe it's, I don't know. But I'm interested in watching this, sticking to it, and then looking at it through kind of like a different lens. And I want to like it. I just have always been like, ugh.
Well, a concern that I have is that I won't like it. That's something that I'm
Whoa.
worried about, is going back and being like, this isn't as good as I remember.
Wow.
So
Well, I can't wait to get on this journey with you.
it's exciting.
Yeah.
You can we have our Twitter. Our Twitter's Sex Ian the City. And another thing is, I know the show is called Sex and the City, and a thing that I do often and other
Sex
people
in
do
the City?
is they call it Sex in the City, and then we named it something that kind of sounds like Sex in the City.
Well, it sounds like sexy in the city. Like
Oh.
it's sexy in the city.
oh, okay, yeah, we could call it that too.
No.
Because I called Sex E in the City, but you
Sex
could call it
in
sex.
the city.
Yeah. You could-
Sex in the city. No and. Sex in the city. Maybe we'll change the name halfway
oh
through.
yeah. Forget that Twitter we just said.
Sexy in the city.
You can follow me on Twitter at Midevenings.
At Ian Finance.
Great.
At iAnimal on Instagram.
Oh, you don't have to follow me on Instagram.
Follow me twice on Instagram.
My Instagram is pretty good though.
You have an alright Instagram.
I saw a girl last night at a show and I thought she was cute, and then I went to her Instagram and she was following me already.
That's
And
good.
I was like, oh, let me do a follow back. Followed back. And then within an hour later, she made like an Instagram story with the text from her boyfriend. And I was like, all right, miss, let's calm it down.
Well, just because someone follows you doesn't mean they're interested in you sexually.
No, I know. It seemed, I take
Only follow us on the podcast if you want to bang us. Yeah.
All right, guys. We will see you next week where we will be watching the first episode. Watch the first episode
Watch
first.
it with us.
The pilot, season 1, episode
Yes.
1, Sex and the City. We're going to talk about it next week. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.